The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
If you're building or buying or selling a home, the Real Estate Crew's got news for you at the Real Estate House Party.
With attorney Rick Carter,
Real Estate House Party.
paralegal Kathy Holtshouser,
Real Estate House Party. Come in, have fun.
and comedian Tony V. Now, here's real estate attorney Rick Carter.
Welcome and thanks for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party.
Hello.
We got Tony V.
I'm here.
And we got Sebastien Cervantes back from Windmill Hypnosis.
Yes.
Because we got a lot of unanswered questions.
A lot of it.
And what we did on the last show, we hypnotized Kathy, so she's walking around Salem, New Hampshire right now as a chicken.
Yes.
So we could get some information finally out today.
Right.
Because we seem to be bouncing around on a lot of subjects, I think.
So if you bump into Kathy Holtshouser, say the word eggplant and watch what happens.
Sebastian's saying, "Oh, my whole professional look is going
Don't
down
get to
the
snap
drain."
your fingers.
So if you didn't see our last show, I loved last show because we were talking.
It was great.
It was good there because Sebastien does self-hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and we're going to kind of wrap up a lot what we talked about the other day. And I think we ended the last show with a brief point there. It's so stressful as a buyer or seller of real estate.
Yes.
It'd be nice to have some techniques on how to deal with that.
To center yourself before you go into a situation that might be high pressure.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I think one of the ways we're wrapping it up, but we're running out of time, self-hypnosis. Yes. So if you could run that go through that again with us, because we're intrigued about someone coming in. We'll get back to that. Tell us about self-hypnosis, because this seems like a great tip to give our buyers and sellers.
Happy to do it. So self-hypnosis really is the act of hypnotizing yourself. And when it goes into hypnosis, that's not just being in a catatonic state of being completely out of whack, not knowing where you are. It's really about being able to relax yourself, to know essentially what do you want to feel, what do you want to be, what do you want to act like after this is all done, for whatever it is you need, whether it's you're going out to sell, you're going to work, you're going to relax, you're going to go to sleep. What do you need at the end of it, and how do we get you from A to B? It's a really simple process, but really it's just about being able to find out what do I need, and how do I get there. And that's the difference between that and meditation, because meditation is just, I'm here, I'm going to breathe, thoughts will come in, and they will come out, and all I'm going to do is have that. And not to say it's passive, but, it's not necessarily with a specific intent. It can be.
Right.
But
there's a lot of repetition in that practice, in not hypnosis and meditation.
Exactly.
So
And
have either of you guys meditated?
I've tried. I think I have too much. I don't know if it's ADD, and I just
my mind is a dark place.
You don't want to go there.
Yeah, it's a dirty, dark place.
So we're probably two bad examples.
Listen, when I'm not thinking, I grow mushrooms up there. That's how dark it is.
Well, okay. I remember Kathy was saying, "I woke up. Woken up." And
She's a good client because I actually saw her being a little bit more relaxed when you're going through that little process. But yes, when she wakes up.
She could be in any state. You could, if you've ever woken up just dreading work, if you've ever been excited for work, if you've ever been just completely out of it and just thinking, and I have to get my wits about me. And she wants to feel like she's going into work. She feels poised. She feels confident. She feels energized. And she feels unflappable.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is a little thing called... Well, first we're going to just figure out what do you need, and we got those qualities, and we're just going to find it so that you think, okay, when I'm that way, has that ever happened before to me in the past? Have I ever had a day where I've had something like that? Do I recall how I acted, how I stood, how I just felt in general?
When you were in that good state.
When you're in that good state, I want to see if you can just recall that or just bring up those emotions,
and what brought you into that good state.
Exactly.
We want to revisit that and duplicate it.
You can't just think to yourself, be confident.
Right.
You feel confident, and most of the time, that's how people act. They just feel confident, and they just kind of let that kind of pull them through the day. They don't have to think constantly, am I being confident? Am I being confident? Is this how a confident person acts? Is this how a confident person, holds their coffee? What does a confident person feel? And maybe it's just, and it's going to be individual. It's not a one answer, but, you could say a confident person feels solid. They feel strong. When they're in their flow, when they're in the moment, they can feel that energy coming into their chest. Okay, so we have two things you want to feel. I want to feel solid. I want to feel energy coming through my chest. What would that look like if you were getting that sort of solidness? Do you want to feel like rooted to the ground? Do you want to feel like you got, ramrod steel in your spine? Do you want to have electricity right here? Do you want to feel excited coming from your feet? It's very individual, but it's just it's play almost.
Yeah.
It's really saying, what do I have to feel in order to feel this way? What do I have to bring up? What do I have to imagine is happening inside of me? Can I believe that? I want to feel that way. And then, the therapeutic part would be what's getting in the way of that. But the self-hypnosis part is simply, I'm going to work to give myself permission to feel that way. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 5 minutes of setting your day and saying, okay, this is exactly how it's going to go, how I'm going to act. I don't care what the first person who comes up to me panicked is going to act like. Here's how I'm going to show it. It's like saying I'm going into, places, action.
Right. So you're acting in a way.
So it's sort of acting.
It's sort of acting.
If you have someone
to inhabit it,
which is a phenomenon, Sunday scaries. A lot of people have that.
Yeah.
Right?
Had a hard time sleeping Sunday nights.
Yeah.
Goes back to when you were a kid and school's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And you didn't do your homework.
I still get it in September.
Me too.
I'm going back to work.
Oh,
I'm going back to school.
Listen, I wake up every day going, shit, I'm still alive. And that's probably not the best way to attack a day. I'm not saying I'm a prime example. But, there's a lot of work to do.
So you're saying, oh shit, I'm still alive? That doesn't sound like the most positive.
No, that's
outlook.
what I'm saying. No. So you got to get over some hurdles before you can get to this place.
Well, okay. Might take some time, but we can work with that.
All right.
Sebastian in his head just went, there's someone I'm not working with.
It's time up already. So for the Sunday scaries, so almost as a suggestion to them, almost go through the process of what a good day would look like next. Because the Sunday scares you. You're nervous about what's going on. And Kathy was talking about it last week where, just how her day's going to be. She's going to look at it. And we get emails. We must get 150 emails an hour saying, what about this? What about this? What about this? And you just kind of, keep dodging bullets all day long. And so Sunday night, she's probably thinking, oh, my God.
I got a 200 tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly,
right.
exactly. Yeah. So just envision almost what a good day would look like.
Almost. The only difference is it's less about what the day is going to look like and more how do I want to feel regardless of how that day is going to be. Because like you said, you can't control how the day is going to go.
Yep.
Mondays are going to be Mondays regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of the sleep you got the night before, what you ate for breakfast, what you had for dinner. Sunday comes along. You are just going to say, I know things are going to happen. And I know based on, because my mind is going to tell me, I'm predicting what's going to happen.
How it's going to happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's happened for the last 30 years. Every Monday's like this. Yeah.
What we're going to do differently is we're just going to say, all right, that's how the plot's going to be. How am I going to act? How am I going to feel? How do I wish to feel? And there's a little technique we call future pacing. It's simply, how are things going to be different when you're feeling this way? Do you want to feel that way? Are you willing to kind of work with feeling a certain confidence, with acting a certain level of confidence?
Right.
Even if, you're coming in and it's going to be what you can predict. People are going to be panicked. People are going to be upset. People are going to be irate. How do you hold on to what you want to feel, regardless of what the outside world is telling you, regardless of what's going on?
So you got to convince yourself.
Well, it's
easy.
It's ultimately the only thing you can control is yourself. You can't control the outside
because you're going to get the 150 emails.
And, right, and how you deal with them.
Right.
I find when I'm in a situation like that with something is overwhelming, if I think of it in its entirety, it's completely overwhelming. You know what I mean? It throws you. But if I break it down into the components,
that's
it's
a good
much
point.
easier to deal with.
Right,
Like,
right.
okay, I have to do this first, and then if I do that, I can do 2, and then when 2 happens, I can do 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And then eventually we'll
It's more
get through it.
incremental.
Incremental.
As opposed to the
You're
overwhelming.
You're a very visual person, it sounds like.
Yes,
You like to
yes.
visualize what's going on ahead, and that's great because that is how you can just work with it. Because it's not easy to feel something.
Yeah.
Because, once again, I can't just tell you, it's like when your parents telling you, just be nice.
Yeah,
right.
And you're like, I'm not going to be nice.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm a visual learner as well. I can read something over and over again and it won't click. But if somebody shows me something, I go, okay.
If you
I
do
got
it
that.
yourself.
Yeah.
So self-hypnosis could be different for people. If you were to just play or just tell yourself and speak it something over and over, might not click.
Right.
You can visualize it, and that might help with bringing up that emotion better, with bringing up how you want to feel, how you're going to do and handle things that are probably going to happen.
Right.
I know this
So
person's gonna
Tony
come
should
to me.
visualize himself in that situation.
And going through
a
the
better
process
would be.
And some people, when you tell them to visualize it, their mind goes a million different directions except
Right.
that one thing.
Right.
They can speak to themselves though.
Right,
They can
right.
speak to themselves and say, I know this is going to happen. I know so-and-so is going to say this, and they're going to bring up this issue, and I tell them the same thing, but they're not going to take no for an answer. And that's, you can already see how they're kind of spiraling themselves down.
Yes.
I'm going to be frustrated. I'm
Yeah.
going to be miserable. I'm going to be angry with them.
Yeah.
They're going to bite back at me. What could we change
So that one
Right.
extra step, how would you suggest having them change that then? Because they're going to be in that situation. You're going to get those 150 emails, and they are going to be saying, how about this, this, and this? What's the best step from there to kind of, you're getting it outside of you almost. Is that right? Where it's
It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever tell someone deny.
Yeah,
Just tell them, happy thoughts,
Yeah,
happy thoughts.
Yeah.
I am calm, I am cool, I am collected.
Yeah.
It's more just, I know how I want to feel.
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself permission.
okay. So that's the
to
step.
feel that way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's-
Okay. That's it.
It takes a little bit of work, but it's
Yeah,
not, it's not always about just saying, I know this is going to happen.
Right.
Therefore, but no matter what, I'm going to feel this
So
way.
that makes sense. Yeah.
But
So
also-
you're going to be in that situation. Just say, listen, it's okay. You're going to be there.
Right.
But, just
Yeah,
relax.
I always think of it as like that situation is, by me wishing it away is not going to make it go away.
Right.
I'm still going to have to deal with
Right.
it.
Right.
So how do I deal with it effectively?
Right.
Another way of doing it, and this is more self-inquiry, is just saying, if this person's mad at me, what am I really dreading about that? Am I dreading the fact that they're going to be yelling at me? Am I dreading the fact that I'm going to be scared that they're going to,
Yeah.
fire
I see
me?
it.
Right.
Am I scared I'm going to lose a sale and I
Yeah.
really need that commission? Am I scared of that? And if I'm scared of losing that commission, am I scared of something deeper?
Yeah.
It's a little self-inquiry, but when you realize, and this is going to sound completely different, that's how I got into hypnosis. I was afraid of bees until my late 20s.
Okay.
I got stung once when I was a little kid. It was just a minor thing,
Yeah.
It's not pleasant, but it's not the end of the world. But up until my late 20s, a bee would float by, and I would just seize up.
Interesting.
Like just automatically seize up. I worked with a hypnotist. It wasn't even about the bee. I know it sounds weird. When I was a little kid and I got stung, a girl grabbed my hand in front of all my friends and, frog marched me over to the nurse's office. Even though I was saying, I don't want to go, let go of me.
Right.
Oh,
And that's
interesting.
very humiliating.
Oh, so
That's very disempowering.
So that was the root of it.
So it was more than just the bee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to look, if a bee stings me, I already got
Interesting.
this thing in my head.
So that bee, whenever you saw a bee, you weren't worried about getting stung. It was bringing you back to your
To that.
childhood.
I don't want to be humiliated. I don't want to be powerless.
I don't want
wanna-
someone grabbing me by the wrist and dragging me to the nurse's office.
Interesting.
Exactly.
So how long did that revelation take you?
Like one session, it was nuts.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
I am the same way with pink pussycat wine.
What happened?
I get violently ill, and now when I see a bottle, I go into convulsions.
All right, if you want to go down that road, mine's whoopie pies.
Ah, there you
And
go.
I was talking about with my family over the weekend. My mother brought home a dozen whoopie pies when I was like 3 years old for the family for the week. I think I ate all 12.
You ate them all.
Yeah. I can't
see a
even
whoopie pie anymore.
look at it ever again. And that's funny. So what's that, loss aversion or something? Something along those lines.
I'm sure it is. But really it's to say, and it's a little self-inquiry. That's where the self-hypnosis comes. I'm just going to ask myself over and over, what am I afraid of if that happens? If that happens, what's going to happen next? And I want to get down to the root of what am I really afraid of? What am I really dreading when I get Sunday scaries? No one, I shouldn't say no one, but going to work, leaving the weekend, that's not always fun.
Yeah.
But what am I dreading? What is the thing I dread? And maybe it's just I don't ever have time to actually have fun on the weekends. I do chores, I see to my family, I do, obligations, and then I have to go to work.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it I'm really sick of seeing this one person? Am I upset about all these emails? It feels like overwhelming. I'm afraid of being overwhelmed.
Right. Interesting.
I think it was Pascal who said man's issues arise from his inability to sit by himself with his thoughts for 30 minutes.
Oh, please. I'd go mad. I'd go mad. I mean, and we know that even from Buddhist teachings that, we tend to head toward chaos when in fact we should go the other way to silence and self-reflection.
Yeah, you're right.
I blare rock and roll music just so I don't have to be alone with my own thoughts. And I know that, what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want my thoughts. Believe me, you wouldn't want
that expression. I'd love to rent space in Tony's head. No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
But with self-hypnosis, it really is just saying, what do I want to get out of it? Do I want to find out why am I afraid of Sunday scaries? Why do I feel this stress? What is the task in front of me, and what am I afraid of in it? It's a little tiny therapizing. It's not always easy because, when you kind of get into that automatic space, it's easy to self-therapize.
Right.
For people who are not used to it, it's not just a little bit of inquiry, but it really is just saying, what's really in this that I'm scared of?
Right.
And hypnosis is about cutting through the logical parts. Well, I'm afraid of, dropping this client. I'm afraid that my Q3 earnings are going to be smaller than Q2. I'm afraid of this. There's usually oftentimes an emotional core underneath this.
You are right, though. I mean, for the longest time after I got out of college, I was still in September.
Yeah,
I still had that feeling.
Yeah,
I
sure.
said, "Oh my God, I got to do this. Summer's over. I got to buy my books."
That's why we still have dreams about going back to school.
Yeah. No, you're right. I get those all the time. Yeah.
Somebody the other night said, "I had a dream about you. We were in a gym." And I go, oh, it had to be a dream. If I was in a gym, it was a dream. There's no way around that. No.
All right, so let's recap this one because, again, we were bouncing around. So that's self-hypnosis. What if you have a client comes to you and wants to, we're throwing out different examples, not eat as much or not smoke or not gamble, whatever it is. So they come to you and say, listen, this is what I'm trying to avoid. How do I do this, Sebastian? How do I, what's the process on something like that?
It depends. Are you looking to replace something or stop something? Are you looking to add something into your life or change something in your life?
A lot of times it would be change.
You want to change something?
Yeah.
We need, and this is could be done when you're fully awake, fully conscious. It could be done, with you're in trance, when you're very quiet, when you're able to kind of filter out all the, the bullshit in your head.
Yeah.
What is it that you get from this that's more important than the thing itself? What is it that you get from, eating a dozen whoopie pies that you need?
Yeah.
Your mind gets really set on associations. That's why September is go back to school.
Right.
So therefore, be upset, feel dread.
Right. So why do we keep doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing? I mean, drinking soda. Why? Right. We know that's not good for you.
It's not good for you.
But we do. And
I think you trade your addictions, too. I mean, if you have that personality, I think sometimes, like you go, okay, I'm going to quit drinking.
Right.
Okay, now I'm going to eat 12 whoopie pies.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to eat the 12 whoopie pies. Now I'm going to gamble.
Right.
Now I'm going to,
No,
so I think to get to the root cause.
Right. Yeah.
So is that's a great point. So is that something you delve into? We talked about it a little bit last week, but Is that what you do? Say, well, it's not because you really want to eat a bunch of whoopie pies. Is there a reason you're doing it, or gambling, or when I took a psychology class when I went to college. It was very first day. This professor was unbelievable. Very first day. You know how you take class? You say, this is just going to be fluff. I'm just going to.
Psych course. I need the credits.
I need the credits. So the very first class, it was just amazing to me. She brings up one guy and says, it's just kind of like we're shooting the breeze here, and says, all right, sit down here. Again, never talked to him. First day class, didn't know his personality at all. He goes, everything okay? He goes, yeah, my life's going great. Boom, 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 boom. I just had a kid, and everything's great. Everything is great. And he started doing, ever hear of Gestalt therapy? I don't think that's...
Oh, Gestalt?
Yeah. So he started twisting his classes. And the professor says, why are you twisting your
glasses? Yeah. And
I guess in Gestalt theory, you're supposed to say that's yourself almost. Well, I feel twisted, a little bit in life. And this, I feel wrapped around. And it was just amazing. And then she went on. She goes, what do you feel twisted about? And he says, well, I have a gambling problem. And I just had a baby. And this is the first 5 minutes of a class, of a fluff class I'm going to take. I feel twisted. I have a gambling problem, and I just had a newborn. I'm not sure if I'm going to be losing all the money. And the guy started breaking down and crying.
Jesus,
I said,
he just wanted to unload somewhere.
But imagine this for the first day. In an undergrad class.
Right, in a class you'd just taken to get by.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, too. So we have all these things, and we all have little things that we don't realize can weigh on us. Little things, or we don't really fully think about it because it's going to get pushed to the back of our minds. We don't really think about what the root cause is, simply because our minds can get overloaded with enough day to day. Day to day, just making it through the day can be enough for most people that it's too much to then have to think, oh my God, I had a child. I've got a gambling problem. I owe this much. What am I going to do? And for a lot of people, they just kind of, they push it away. And then
kick it down the road.
And then until within 5 minutes of meeting someone who just asks, oh, is everything okay? And it comes
oh my God.
Right.
So I think with eating, sometimes I think it's just more of a nutritional. I think
we're brainwashed into eating.
I think you're right.
Right. Most of the issues we have with eating now, stems back to television, where you're force-fed what to eat. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Right down to eggs and orange juice for breakfast.
Right.
We never used to have eggs and orange juice for breakfast, and then they started doing
the longest time
orange.
You said eggs are bad for you. Get your cholesterol up.
And then the this council, and then they had the orange juice people, and like, oh, I guess orange juice is for breakfast, and I think it just gets in you.
Right.
And I think you got to.
And then you worry about, does Big Market control this?
Of course it does.
You go down the cereal aisle, there's got to be 75 different cereals, and probably none of them are good for you.
Probably not.
Maybe 2 out of the 75.
Sure, of course.
But they're all, laced with sugar.
Speaking of, one of the reasons that does work so well is because, and they've done studies on the brain, when it comes to the habits that we have, the brain is an anticipator. It anticipates when it just sees something that it's going to associate some kind of reward or feel-good thing that's going to come from that. So that's why we have logos and labels, and we associate those things. So we are automatically based to, I see this, and I know I'm going to feel the thing that I want to feel, which is something good. I'm going to get the sugar. I'm going to get the meatiness. I'm going to get the alcohol. I'm going to get something that's going to make me feel good. I'm going to remove something else from my life. So when it comes to overeating, people who want to change their diet, there's a logical part, sheer physics. If you take in less calories than you are consuming, your body will begin to lose mass.
Sure.
But, and beyond just the fact that, the human body doesn't like to feel hungry, what specifically is leading you to a certain diet?
Well, my daughter has a great theory on this, and you're probably getting to it, but she thinks, and it's probably true, foods with a lot of sugars in it fills us up quickly. So we gravitate towards that. You know, you're hungry.
Yeah.
You haven't eaten all day. That's why we all snack. You know, you go
Right.
to the Three Musketeer bar because
It's got everything in it.
It's got everything.
Sure.
It fills you up.
Yeah.
And it's very quick for, you know, a couple hours where, you know, but that's her theory. And
that can kind of come to where it becomes that is not the problem itself, because you think, okay, I need something quickly to fill me up. Why? Because I am so busy in my life.
You're right.
Because I don't sleep well enough.
Right.
Because I am so stressed by everything. So I am so stressed. I don't sleep well. I'm tired. The Starbucks, the 7-Eleven are
No,
right
you're
outside,
right.
and they're
Sure.
an easy way to feel
No,
this.
you're right.
Right, sure.
And, you know,
I think you're right.
Fat, salt, sugar, repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can logic someone to saying, you know, you can get an equivalent amount of sugar from, say, an orange.
Right.
And it's calorically maybe less dense.
Right.
It's less fat.
Right,
It's not going
right.
to fatten you up. But that doesn't matter. You
Right.
can't logic someone out of their emotions.
Right.
You can kind of uncover something. You can logic your way into uncovering the deeper
Right.
things. But the hypnosis part is, how do we shift those emotions?
Right.
How do we get these things unstuck? How do we allow
Right.
you to permit yourself to feel good eating an orange as you would
Right.
a Three Musketeer? And that
Sure.
can be an easy task. It can be a hard task.
And we're so rushed like I was. Like if I had to do 4 or 5 closings outside the office during the day, a slice of pizza is so easy. You go to a pizza place and you're done.
You're done.
You're not sitting around waiting
You got
for
everything, right.
You're not waiting for around. God forbid you
You
wait
just
an
wanna be
extra
filled up.
15 seconds
Yeah.
for something. But that's how I was, you know, and it's a pattern now to get quick, immediate, you know.
And it totally makes sense. And it's
Yeah.
not wrong because, like you said, I'm hungry. This
Right.
is convenient. This will fill me up. And that's as far as I need to go.
Right.
That's as far as my mind
Right.
wants to go, as opposed
Right.
to I can go home and start preparing foods that I know will also fill me up.
Exactly,
That are
yeah,
going to not be as fattening.
Be as
Beyond just the idea of, like, you know, pizza tastes great. It's also just a matter of, in my mind, I'm making the decision that it's okay to do this if I get this. It's
Right.
okay to eat something that I know isn't fulfilling my weight loss needs
Right.
if it's fulfilling my more immediate hunger
right,
needs.
Right. So I'm filled out, gets me to the next place without a lot of delay, and you just pick up that pattern forever.
Yeah.
So, I know we could do this. All right, let me throw out some myths because we only have a few minutes left. So let's see. Hypnosis does not necessarily help recover distant memories. Like they always say, hypnosis, if you're in this trance, you can remember stuff when you're 2 years old. I'm not sure if that's completely.
For the vast majority of people, memory is imperfect. Recollection is even more imperfect. There was actually a very famous case about retrieving suppressed memories that led to a major lawsuit.
Really?
A girl was getting therapy
Yeah.
because she was just stressed in high school.
Yeah.
Her father was an executive for a big winery company in California.
Okay.
He was often gone, and she was also, just didn't see her father a lot. The therapist said, you might want to try hypnotherapy. That might help. This person wasn't a hypnotherapist. She was just a psychiatrist who had done a weekend course. They tried to find, what is the source? What is the earliest cause of this stress? The earliest thing was, and this was what the girl said, when she was a little girl, her father assaulted her.
Oh.
Her father sexually assaulted her. And so when she told her mother that, well, the mother then called the police. The man was, placed under arrest. They went to trial.
I know where you're going with this.
And the thing is, though, when they actually were able to then investigate it,
Never happened.
it did not happen.
It never happened.
This, whatever came up, there was something else, but it was not sexual. And so naturally, that
But
father...
she actually... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, well,
She believed it.
She believed it.
Yeah.
And the father was naturally furious and so sued that psychiatrist, that therapist, whoever they were, for essentially, you're implanting false memories in my daughter, my underage
You
daughter.
hear that a
You
lot.
suggested that could be the root of the problem.
You hear that a lot in
Exactly.
divorce situations. I had a broker
Yeah.
who was a very combative, it's years and years, very monthly, and testimony kept coming out. After a while, I think the kids were starting to believe the testimony that was being brought out.
Right.
Not that it really happened.
Yeah.
but-
There was a lot of that going on with child cases in the late 80s, early 90s, where they would hypnotize kids, and a whole bunch of people were getting railroaded for stuff they never did.
Yeah.
Because, kids are very susceptible. They want to please adults.
Exactly.
They plant these ideas that this happened. And
the line of questioning can also be very suggestive. You know,
Yes.
who is there? Is it your father?
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
And if with people being browbeaten and stuff,
Sure,
they're going to start to believe
Of course.
stuff. And that's
how they get confessions out of people.
So it can help with recollection, but it can't retrieve a false or a repressed memory.
Repressed memory.
A repressed memory. This-
All right, we brought this up. How do you get credentials to become a hypnotherapist?
So there are a lot of courses out there. There are a lot of programs out there. I went through the Hypnotherapy Training Institute in California. It's the oldest hypnotherapy accredited institution on the West Coast.
How long was this course for?
Oh, I mean, how long was the course itself that I took?
Yeah.
This would have been 6 months. It's a
Yeah.
relatively short program.
Yeah.
But still, it's better than the weekend warrior who goes out and thinks
Yeah.
all of a sudden they can hypnotize everyone in the world.
Here's the thing. Truly, depending on the state, there are always differences in regulations, but for the vast majority of states, you don't have to do anything to be a hypnotist.
Didn't we talk about this? Only like Texas and Florida?
Texas and
possible?
Florida have special provisions in their laws that you have to be a certain thing, or you just
You don't have to be licensed?
You don't have to be licensed.
Wow, it's like a comedian.
In
You don't.
in
Wow,
New-
you
you're
just say
definitely-
you
you're-
can just say it.
You're
You
definitely
have-
not licensed to do what you do.
No. And here's the most important question:
Yes.
Do you take insurance?
No.
Okay. All right, just so we know. All right, I won't be seeing you then. It was nice talking to you, though.
Nice talking to you.
All right. Speaking of talking to, give your contact information out one more time because it looks like we might have to wrap this up again.
Absolutely. I am at windmillhypnosis.com. My name is Sebastien Cervantes. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I treat anxiety, habit change issues, especially those regarding stress. And I'm also just ready to talk with anyone online or in person.
No, you're absolutely the best. I mean, just to
Yeah,
talk
it's very
to Don't
good.
you feel
It's- yeah.
calming
Oh, yeah.
every time you
It's
talk
great.
to them?
Yeah, it's
It's very,
fantastic. Yeah.
very calming.
I'm a skeptic about everything, but this is.
But don't you
I
feel
feel
better?
much better.
I
Yes.
know.
Yeah,
That's
appreciate it.
good.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop eating right now. I'm stop gambling. No more smoking. And no more stress in my life. How's
Well,
that?
listen, if I did all of that, I wouldn't exist. I would just disappear.
Where's Tony? Oh, he's
Hey,
giving up a lot of stuff. There's no
one day,
vices left in him.
Poof, he was gone.
Thanks for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party. Thank you, Sebastian. I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you very
It's
much.
Very
I
It
knowledgeable.
was
appreciate
great, man. It was
Thank
great.
you.
Pleasure.
Tony B,
It's always a
always the
pleasure.
best of you.
Always good.
Don't give up too much.
No,
and
no.
We'll hope we'll see
No.
you
Yeah.
next week. All right? Have a great week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.